Well, it's a real treat today to be with Lieutenant Jim Downing, who at 104 years old is the second oldest known American survivor of Pearl Harbor. You've got a couple of books out. One of them's The Other Side of Infamy, Jim Downing. What is the message that you're trying to convey?
People that were not at Pearl Harbor can't get all the details, but I was there. So this book is built around my experience at Pearl Harbor. After Pearl Harbor, I took part in the Korean War and the Cold War and the H-bomb test. So I cover all those. I've had a very adventuresome life.
I'll say, yeah. Let's start with Pearl Harbor. I know you've told the story so many times, but for most of it, it's just so hard to understand, other than watching it on a movie, what it would be like to be involved with that. What do you remember about that day?
The president and the Japanese peace ambassador were scheduled to have talks Monday morning. So that weekend, as he came through Pearl Harbor, we said nothing's going to happen until the peace talks break down. But the peace ambassador knew that the Japanese fleet was just over the horizon, so we fell for that. We were not on the alert. We did not have satellites or radar in those days, so all you knew is what you saw. So the first thing was surprise. Then there was fear of the 360 planes that attacked. 75 were fighters. They didn't have any opposition, so they were fighting anything that moved. So the first one I saw flew toward me low and slow. When he got what he thought was the right angle, he cut loose. Now, fortunately for me, the pilot didn't make far enough, so the bullets went over my head and dug a trench. I was afraid the next pilot would be more accurate. And then naturally, I was angry with our leadership. We should have never been caught like that.
You're hit with surprise. Nobody knows what really to do, but you felt like everybody responded in a manner that, looking back, made you proud?
Yes. I was particularly the ships that were hit and damaged, that took care of the wounded, and then there were a couple thousand people killed that morning. So they stumped in, everybody jumped in, did what they could. The foot fire took care of the sick and the dying. And there were 164 ships in port. Of those, 22 were damaged. So we had a lot of firepower still going there. It took a little while to get it underway. But once it did, our men did a magnificent job.
I've heard you speak about your faith and how you were looking right into the fighter pilot coming at you or whatever the next attack would be, and somehow had a peace about being in a situation that you probably thought wasn't going to end well for you.
Yes, between the first and the second attack, a Navy tanker with aviation fuel decided to cross the harbor. So these fighters were like swarms of bees as they came in trying to find a vulnerable spot. But the fact is they never did. But I was about 400 yards from that. I was sure that the next attack they made, they would hit a vulnerable spot and that fuel would go up. I know what a quart of gasoline will do. And I also know what several thousand gallons might do. So my conversation was, Lord, I'll be with you in a minute. I never expect to survive, the next minute as they were coming in. So I had great peace. I think that's because I felt that I was going to be in heaven just in a little bit. But what I've learned out of it is that 92% of the things we worry about never happen. So if there's real danger to the Christian, he'll feel that peace. So I don't think the Lord responds to false alarms. So if I'm all bent out of shape about something, there's probably no basis for it. If there's a basis for it, why, I'll have that peace that passes all understanding.
Let me ask you one more question. So, with all of the experience that you have and everything you've learned about what it means to live a life well lived, what would you tell anybody that looks at Lieutenant Jim Downing, 104 years old, the second oldest known American survivor of Pearl Harbor, and you got all of this, what we would perceive to be all of this knowledge, and you say, hey, here's the secret to a life well lived?
Yes, I have an answer that I use pretty often, and it is 4 words, all begin with the letter D. The first is discover your gift. The second word is dedicate your gift to a higher purpose. There's a high suicide rate among those who use their gift for personal enhancement. The third is develop your gift to the maximum. And the fourth is a military term, deploy your gift. I believe everybody has a special gift, something you're better at than anybody else. You enjoy it more. You're successful when you're doing it. So my message to people of every age group, from high school graduates to people in the assisted living home, discover your gift and dedicate it to a higher purpose in yourself. Develop the maximum and deploy it.
Well, you've certainly done that, it would seem, and it's been an honor to spend time with you, sir. Thank you so much for your time.
I appreciate talking with you.